Okay, so today you watched a video on the respiratory system. So again, I put respiratory system as my title and today's date. I put my little guy on this side and my notes on this side so I can see them both together. Let's go over the little guy first. All right, so the parts of my respiratory system, I have my lungs and my trachea coming down, my windpipe, and then this big muscle on the bottom called your diaphragm. All right, let's look at the notes that you need to take. All right, so respiratory system is the name of this body system. Parts of the system, you have your nose or mouth, because that's how it enters, air enters your body is your nose or mouth. Then you have your trachea, which is also known as your windpipe. Then you have your lungs, and then you have your bronchi and bronchioles. Those are the parts that connect your lungs and go into your lungs. They're like the tubes in your lungs. And then the alveoli is the little sacs inside your lung that have the blood vessels around it so that when your lungs get the oxygen from the air, it can put it into your blood. And then on the bottom of your rib cage, this is what's really responsible for your breathing. If you did not have a diaphragm, you would not be able to breathe. So when you breathe in, your diaphragm contracts. So for example, to know what contracts mean, here's my hand, okay? I have muscles in my fingers, right? When I contract these muscles right here and right here, my finger curls. So it gets smaller. So when it contracts, it squeezes together. When it relaxes, it stretches out. So contracts, relaxes. Okay. So when your diaphragm contracts, it squeezes and your rib cage opens wide. And then when it relaxes, your rib cage goes to its normal size, like what it would be if you didn't even have a diaphragm. So when it contracts, it pushes your rib cage open. When it relaxes, it goes back to normal, like when you're not breathing, the size that your rib cage is. So when it contracts and it pulls open your rib cage, that pulling causes air to be pulled into your lungs. Now, if your rib cage didn't open up like that, you wouldn't be able to pull air into your lungs. So diaphragm is really, really important. Okay, what does your respiratory system do for your body? It transports air in and out of the lungs. It protects against inhaled particles. So when you breathe something in, if it's dusty, that dust doesn't go into your blood. Your nose and your mouth and your throat and your lungs filter it out so that the dirt doesn't go into your body. Exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide also happen in the respiratory system. Okay, how does it work with your skeletal system? So your bone cells need oxygen in order to function. Also, your rib cage protects your lungs. The muscular system, the diaphragm is a large muscle that contracts when you breathe in. So if you didn't have the muscular system, you wouldn't be able to breathe. How does the circulatory system work with the respiratory system? Your respiratory system takes in oxygen for the blood and exhales carbon dioxide from the blood. So it takes in oxygen for the blood and exhales carbon dioxide from the blood. How does the respiratory system and digestive system work together? Nutrients obtained from food and oxygen are the nutrients that all cells need. So your cells need oxygen and nutrients from your food. So they work together to give those cells the right nutrients. How does the nervous system work with your respiratory system? Your brain sends messages to your lungs to get oxygen. Your brain cells need oxygen to function, and function means to work or its job. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. Make sure you get all these notes written down. Remember, on Friday, you take a quiz on the respiratory and circulatory system. You can use these notes to help you. So if you're deciding that you're not going to complete this assignment and take all the notes, then that's really hurting you for your quiz on Friday. If you take all the notes, you should be able to get 100% on your quiz because you're allowed to use your notes to help you decide the answer. So as long as you're reading carefully and using your notes, then you should get 100.